Welcome along to South Today's Sport. After the last of the round-robin matches in the ANZ Championship saw the Southern Steel play their best netball of the year when defeating the Vixens, a win that saw them finish 5th overall after the Pulse ended their season tamely with yet another loss across the Tasman. The Tactics also bowed out after a thumping. The Mystics showed their true though belated potential when knocking over the Swifts. The Magic, desperate to find form prior to the playoffs, simply couldn't find enough against the Firebirds. So reflecting on that great win by the Southern Steel is the Vice-Captain, Wendy Frew. She joins me in the studio. Good evening, Wendy. Welcome along.
Thank you very much.
What a way to finish the season. Could you have played, or did you play better as a complete unit through the whole season?
Yeah, I think we did. The Vixens are a great side, and for us, we went into the game with nothing to lose. And I think we all just gelled as a unit and probably played a good 60 minutes of consistent netball.
Typically, though, at some stages you had to fight your way back into the match. It was always going to be the case with the class team.
Yeah, we knew, if we're up by 5, they were always going to come back at us, and exactly what happened. Up in the last few minutes by 2, and they got an intercept off us. So we knew the whole time it was going to be tough, and we had to treasure all our ball and turnover and stuff like that. So for us to come out and get the win against a quality side like that was a great finish to the season.
And you had your own special moments, a few key intercepts at the right time?
Yeah, it's always nice to get a few away, but all the girls worked well, and the D unit played well together. So it's just nice to get some ball, and the girls certainly gelled.
Janelle, under an injury career, didn't look 100% fit to us from outside. Was that true?
Yeah, Jay had a bit of a rough week with the knee, but she just showed what a calibre player she is and stepped up to the mark, and certainly had a bit of a slow start to the game, but then in the end she was just crucial for us. So great that she could come out firing and get over the injury and play a good game.
So what was the motivation for you? You knew the semis were gone at that stage, or was it just taking a big scalp?
Well, yeah, it's always disappointing when you're playing the last few rounds and you're not in that semi-final hunt. And for us, that's what we did to ourselves. We didn't start the season well, and then a bit of a slump sort of early mid-season. So that's just how it goes. But for us, we wanted to finish strong. And, last year we knew we'd won 6 games and lost 7. So it would have been nice to, get the 7 wins. So pretty stoked that we could do that at the end of the day.
So when you walked off, there was the immediate elation of the victory, but was there a reflection on, if we played like that all the time, we'd have been playing next week?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, knocking off a Vixen side like that, obviously in New Zealand, it's probably a bit easier to do than it is in Aussie, but certainly really disappointing, playing like that and thinking what could have been, but we've only got ourselves to blame for the situation we put ourselves in.
Now, I've got a bit of a theory, and I'll share it with you, have the viewers, as yourself and the Mystics and Pulse all in that same boat, where you'll look back and think if it started the season, but in particular, we'd be in a much better position. Is it something to do with the way the New Zealand teams prepare or are under-prepared?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I know for us, having a few other friends out in January, the girls down here train really hard, but you sort of come in and had 3 weeks with the team to make it gel, and I know you can't make excuses, but obviously, it would have been good to have everyone for that whole time. But at the same time, it's we all know what our jobs are. You can't afford to lose 3 in a row at the start of the season and try to be competitive, and it's going to make the end of the season pretty tough. So certainly, as a team, we need to have a look at how we started. I think in terms of fitness, a lot of the girls hit PBs early on, which was awesome. So you can't really blame anything like that. It's probably just little bits and pieces we just didn't tick the box and do well.
Technically or mathematically, you're only one game away from semi-final action. So you've got to look back over the season. Is there one game that you really thought you should have nailed because you were playing well at the time?
I guess there's a few like that. I think we had a few, maybe 2 games we lost by over 10 or whatever it was, and apart from that they were pretty tight. But probably the games for me were the Mystics and Pulse at home, our first home games in the stadium, and we sort of had leads in the game and they come back in that 4th quarter and killed us. So, I mean, they're a great size and they deserve the win, but being up against a team like that and then letting them come back in the game, that probably was pretty crucial for us.
New Zealand fans, I'm sure, share my trepidation about the finals. We've got one team in, New Zealand's got one team in, but they're not playing at their best now. They've sort of coming off the slope.
Yeah, they gelled really well at the start, the Magic, and I know they'll be probably disappointed, but they're a confident bunch of players, and they'll be thinking that they can win 3 and get the title. So anything can happen in finals netball, so I'm hoping for the New Zealand benefit that they step up and go all the way.
It's a hard way to win, though, isn't it, to come from 4th position, because you've got that must-win to this weekend and then do it all again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've got to win 3 away, so it's a tough ask, but I guess they've deserved that top 4 spot. They've put the string the wins together at the start of the season, which us other New Zealand teams couldn't do. So, I mean, if you look at the team on the court, they've got some pretty good players there, and a lot of them have been in this final situation. So, I'm sure they'll go well.
I'm thinking maybe the Firebirds here. That was an important win at the weekend to give them a better position. They won the crucial matches. I think they might be the best of the four.
Yeah, Firebirds sort of didn't have a lot talked about them in early season, but they've certainly stepped up. I think they've had 6 wins on the trot, and their whole 7 is a real strength of theirs. And I think they'll be tough to beat. I think Vixens Firebirds this weekend will be a huge game.
And going in on that role into a finals action, having won a lot of games and played well throughout.
Yeah, they'll be sitting pretty nicely now, and I think they'll know that they can take the Vixens. I think they had a bit of a loss to them the last game, but as we said, anything can happen in finals netball. But probably on form the last sort of month, you'd be thinking the Firebirds will be up there.
I'm excited about the potential rule changes that are being trialled at the moment. I'm reading online about the reaction. The players are enjoying it, and we're talking about the extra point from the shot and not waiting for the umpire at the centre pass, speed up the game. What's your theory on those?
Yeah, I haven't actually read a lot about these, to be honest, but anything that speeds up the game would be good. The umpires have a pretty tough job umpiring now. Like, the players are just getting fitter, faster, stronger, so anything to help them out and make the speed of the game go a bit quicker, I think would be great.
And the reward for the long shooting, I think it's spectacular for the crowd. They'll enjoy it more, and I think it's a reward for people prepared to take a punt.
Yeah, well, I guess there's some shooters out there who can nail those long shots. You look at Donna; she's going to be vital for any team that is bringing in that rule. So, yeah, I think as a shooter they do well to get under the post. Like, the D aren't making it easy for them to do that. But why not have a few long shots? And I think the crowd will get behind it a bit better too. And
another potential change would mean you're playing finals action if they expand the finals series. What's your view on that?
Yeah, well, that would be cool. It's just such a tough comp now. You can knock some of the top teams off and then lose to them, and I think it'd be good to expand the top 4. And is it going to be top 6? I think. It's just week in, week out. It's such a grind out there, and it'd be good if you could get a chance. Sitting where we are now, obviously it'd be great to get out there and play in that finals.
It does extend the season, which is relatively short, isn't it? It seems just like yesterday you and I talked about the first game of the season, and now it's all gone.
Yeah, it ticks along pretty quick, you just go about your business week in, week out, and you're always looking forward to the game, so the week goes fast, and then the game comes, and then the same thing happens again. So I think another few weeks wouldn't hurt at all. Players are semi-professional, so I think it would work pretty well.
And you think over all these years it is a much tougher competition than when it started?
Yeah, definitely.
Mentally?
You look back in the day when it first started, there's some huge players still playing, like the likes of Dean and all that, but I guess just everyone's getting a lot more competitive and training a lot harder, and it's just making for a tougher challenge out there. 2015,
where are we going to see Wendy Frew? Got to ask that question. Have you made any plans, commitments or contracts?
No contracts yet, but obviously I love playing for the Southern Steel, and I'd like to cut up for them again next year, so hopefully the next few weeks we'll have some chats and get something sorted.
No family extensions or anything?
No, not this year. Definitely not.
Okay. Just enjoy the one you've got, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, Archie's happy on his own at the moment.
Okay, let's keep it that way. That's the official word.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us throughout the entire season. We wish you very well for the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Right, let's have a look at the table wrap and see how everything finished up. So the top 4 were unlikely to change over the last round and didn't, but it was a good result for the Firebirds, earning themselves a spot in the major semi-final, therefore a second chance should the result go awry. The Swifts and Magic have the sudden death minor semi to ponder over the next week, with the only Kiwi franchise alive in the semis, the Outsiders, on recent form. The Steel will be happy to have pipped the Pulse into 5th on the basis of having scored more goals, but both teams, along with the Mystics, will be wondering what might have been with a better start to the season and more consistency. The pre-season program for all of the New Zealand teams needs a revamp.